Good morning. It's Wednesday morning, September the 15th. I'm glad you've joined us here for Coffee with Dot. And we've been talking about Joshua chapter 13. And it's one little verse, kind of packed into several verses that talk about the kings that they've defeated, the list of kings and everything. And just to go back and to remind us here in the middle of the week, what the Lord said in Joshua 13, verse 1, when Joshua was old and well advanced in years, the Lord said to him, "You are very old, and there are still very large areas of land to be taken over." In other words, it ain't over till it's over. And we owe a great deal of gratitude to Yogi Berra for reminding us of that. It ain't over till it's over. So you keep going till the Lord takes you away, as long as you can. And we looked yesterday at the whole premise of this whole thing, that there's a great deal of difference between inheritance, what God has given us, what God has promised to us, what God has delivered to us and give us permission to do, and the appropriation or the actual doing of that, possessing it. Great deal of difference. And we need to possess and utilize everything God has given to us. And so that's what we talked about yesterday. They had inherited the land, but they had not possessed it all. And that was going to come back and to haunt them. Now, what is involved in possessing our inheritance? What is involved in taking those things God has given us and utilizing them in our everyday life? Well, I think there are three words, and that's what we're going to look at the rest of the week. Three words that arise out of this dilemma of how do we possess what we've inherited, and how do we keep going at the end of our life, or how do we keep going in our old age to continue to possess what the Lord has done for us and what He's given to us. And those three words that we're going to talk about are surrender. And we think we know what that means, but we don't always know. Consecration and appropriation. And that's what we're going to look at today and tomorrow and Friday. So right now, let's concentrate, let's zero in on that word, surrender. Well, what does it mean to surrender? I think it was interesting. There's a difference, and it can be played out in today's world. There is a difference between the surrender of the German forces and the Japanese forces, so forth and so on, out of World War II. In World War II, we saw enemies utterly defeated. We saw America come together to do everything that we could to beat what was trying to be forced upon the world by two or three nations. And there are moving pictures of the surrender ceremonies of the end of World War II. One that sticks in my mind is how on a ship, on an American ship, the Japanese came to that ship, and there's a very moving picture of the signing of the end of the war and the surrender of Japanese forces. Surrender. They gave it all completely over. And when they gave, now this falls apart, the illustration, but when they gave it, then the United States helped them to recover their economy, to recover so many different things. Now, that's called a surrender. When we pulled our troops out of Afghanistan, I don't want to get political here, but when we pulled our troops out of Afghanistan, the way it was done, the way it was handled, that is not surrender. They didn't surrender to us. They waited in caves and in the wilderness and waited until we pulled away without having completely, how can I say this? I'll just use the word defeated. Without completely defeating them. And they abided away from the everyday life until the time came that the United States and their forces withdrew without them surrendering. Now, it's the same group of folks here that God says to Joshua, you haven't got them all yet. Don't withdraw yet. It hasn't happened yet. You got some more to do. And in order to do that, you're going to have to surrender to my will. So what does surrender mean? Let me tell you in a nutshell what surrender means to the Lord. It means that all I am, all I have, and all I hope to be is His. I've given it all to Him. My plans, my wealth, my time is submitted to Him. Everything I have, He can take anytime He wants it. That's the relationship that we have with God when we're surrendered. We don't look at it as ours. It's all His. And I can utilize whatever He returns to me or gives me control over. But folks, it's all His. Everything, my plans, my time, my wealth, anything I have, He can take anytime He wants it. And we made that agreement with God when we were saved. When we accepted Christ as our Savior, that's when we surrendered to Him. Now, little by little, we've taken things back, but we surrendered all when we were saved. There's been a series of crisis moments in our life where God has put His finger on something about or in your life and said, give this to me. And we've not submitted to Him. We haven't done it. That is taking what God has given us and not surrendering it to Him. We've tried to hold on to it just in case we ever want to use it. And God said, if you ever need to use it, I'll restore it. Right now, you give it to me. That's surrender. And we need so much to surrender fully to the Lord, because He's not going to take anything away from us that we really need. And whatever He takes, He will supply so much more. And He may give back the very thing, but now it's going to be glorified for His use. You guys have a great day today, middle of the week. Make it a good week. You still got 2 more days. We'll see you in the morning when we come back and talk about that second word. The first one is surrender. Tomorrow morning, it's consecration. God bless you. Have a good day today.